Yeah, Coach, how has this offense responded to the challenges of the last 2 weeks as they get ready now for USF?
We've had a good week of practice. We hadn't played well, and we've got to deal with that, right? We've got to we got to see it improve. And we've talked about that there were going to be challenges, okay, and learning how to deal with those things, and you know being able to continue to move forward, when you're struggling. So 2 weeks ago against Notre Dame was the turnovers. Last week, it just we couldn't, we just did not execute in a lot of situations. And so we can either feel sorry for ourselves, or get back going again and get our confidence going and go execute. So I think we've had a good week of practice. But the bottom line is, you got to go execute on Saturday. We got to put in, we got to do a great job planning for that. I got to call a good game, and then but the bottom line is we got to execute when we go out there. So um, it was certainly, I mean, obviously it was disappointing Saturday, last Saturday. We got to bounce back and grow from it, or we can just wallow in self pity and not change it, right? So I know what I want to do. I've been in here, we're trying to do everything we can to put them in good situations. They've had a good week of practice, but we got to show up Saturday and execute and get the mojo back a little bit.
How impressive is it that your center, Brent, hasn't allowed a single sack all year long?
Well, that's pretty good. If you can go the whole season and play O line and not give up a sack, I'd say that's solid pass protection. So I didn't realize we haven't given up a ton of sacks, anyway. And so the fact that nobody is, uh, nothing's on our center right there. That's pretty good stuff. Absolutely.
Looking at USF, I look at their linebackers and they're either seniors or graduate students. Do you
Yeah.
see that experience when you watch that group play?
Well, I think this is the trend you're going to see. It seems like everybody we play against is full of graduates and seniors, and a ton of those guys are transfers. Okay. And so when a young man is somewhere and he's getting older, and it's just maybe he's not quite getting to play like he wants to at the place he is, then he's going to transfer and play out the rest of it, where he feels like maybe he has a chance to play some more. So I think this is just what you're going to see now. Because when I look up and down, they're too deep. There's a lot of GRs, okay, GR period, next to their names, and several seniors. These guys are older guys, but I think that's kind of going to be the way it is. I mean, it seemed like we played uh, every time. I think specifically about Charlotte just having a ton of older kids, UAB, Notre Dame. I just think that's what it's gonna be now. So yeah, there's grown men out there.
Thanks, Coach.
Hmm.
Just to go on what the coach said, Navy is fifth in the country in fewest sacks allowed and first in the country in fewest tackles for a loss allowed. Wags.
Drew, season lows for points, total yards, rushing yards,
Hmm.
260 total yards, 140 rushing. What is your assessment of what happened out there on Saturday night?
I can give you the Sunday school answer and just say you know, we can make every excuse in the world. Okay. There was a lot of weirdness out there Saturday. It was a long delay. It was a little bit slippery surface. It was the weather. You can say whatever you want to. Bottom line is we didn't execute. I got to call a better game, and we got to execute better in certain situations. We're a team that really has kind of thrived on getting explosion plays, right? I mean, we've had a lot when we're scoring points, it's because we're getting explosion plays mixed in there, and that opens up a lot of things. And a lot of our explosion plays are in the run game, in the option game. I felt like we were very poor Saturday with our leverage on a lot of blocks on the perimeter, and sustaining some of those things. Um, but we've got to play better. Got to coach better. Got to play better. And it's not going to get any easier. The competition is really good every week. I mean, we're playing against a bunch of dudes this week, so we have got to take ownership in it and go execute at a higher level. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I saw.
Well, let's just get right to the field conditions because we talked to Coach Newberry about that, and he thought it had a significant impact. I mean, there's a 4th-and-2 play where you have a jet sweep to Eli that has worked quite well all season and is almost guaranteed to get you 2 yards just because of his ability to make somebody miss. But he makes the cut. That's Eli's game is put the foot in the ground and make a quick cut, and he goes down. And there were multiple times that guys slipped down. Does it affect the way you call the game?
Yeah, somewhat it does. It was a tough surface, and that's just the fact. Now we didn't handle it very well either, and I think it really it becomes as much mental as anything. So we got to be a little tougher mentally in some of those situations. But I thought tops of routes were a little more difficult. To run curls, comebacks, those kind of things. So it was just made it a little more maybe difficult to try to call certain things. But I don't know how much it affected what the decisions I made. But I certainly we got to keep our feet better. And so I don't. I mean, we. That's a tough deal, but we got to deal with it, and we got to do a better job. They played on the same surface we did, and they handled it better.
Well, one thing that was apparent is that they were able to take away your perimeter game, and a lot of the perimeter game has with being able to turn the corner. And if you're struggling to turn the corner, that's a problem. And then if a team is stringing you out, like I noticed their robber linebacker did a great job of stringing some perimeter plays out, but that's when you go misdirection. But once again, misdirection, it requires changing direction. So, I mean, that's why I was kind of wondering. It seemed like you ended up having to run it between the tackles, and that was tough sledding because they had like 3 guys that were 315. That number 50 was very large.
Big dude.
Yes. And they had a couple of those guys. And they were standing up your offensive linemen. They were not giving up ground, those big boys inside.
Sure. I hear everything you're saying, and I can say this, Rice has played really well defensively this year. And we knew they were good on defense. And so, it helps to get on the perimeter, certainly. But some of that you can put some of that on harder. You can say, certainly it was difficult out there with the conditions, but we also didn't execute some things on the perimeter that would have helped us turn the corner, helped us, just getting our leverage out there, and led to explosion plays. I really think we left some explosion plays out there, and then that's the difference, right? I mean, it's just a couple of little things, and all of a sudden, like the 4th-and-2 play was a huge play. I mean, we're down. I think it was maybe 17-7 at the time, and we're driving. But we had 2 opportunities there. We're driving there, and we didn't get the 4th down. Then we drove down inside the 10 and didn't get it in there. So we had opportunities, but yeah, conditions are going to be difficult sometimes, and I think we just didn't handle them maybe as well as we needed to.
Do you think playing Army benefited Rice?
That's a hard question to answer. I mean, it also helps us because we can see maybe how they'll line up to some of our stuff too, so there's pros and cons to that. If playing against Army, we're a little different than Army. It's there's some similar formations and similar philosophies, but we're not. It's a little different. So I don't know that would have given them an advantage. Maybe another week of prep versus option, helps you. Anytime you can prep more, maybe helps you settle into your assignments and those kind of things. But I think, it also helps us to be able to see how they're going to line up maybe to some of those things, So I could go either way with that one.
Well, on that note, against Army, they played man-to-man in the secondary on the first play of the game. Did you not expect to have two safety zone on the back end? Because
they played cover two that first play. Yeah, they did. They played cover two. I think probably because we were in a little more of a condensed set right there. When we widened some splits, they got a little bit more into more of the what we call quarters type coverage, which matches the coverage a little bit more of a man type deal. But yeah, they were playing cover two on the first play, and the safety came off of one of our guys and got the other one. So, but it still decision making. Maybe need to drop it off to the underneath guy. Trying to make a play on the first first play of the game. Trying to give Eli a chance there. Probably tried to do too much. That's one of those I wish. That's one of those I wish I would have had back maybe as a caller.
Blake's got to read that, right? I mean, he's got to read that it's cover two and know that you're over the top.
Sure.
Because he doesn't have one-on-one coverage.
Yep. Probably need to throw it underneath, like I said, and but I probably could have done a better job not put him in that situation as well. So that's one of the calls I wish I'd have had back. I probably would have started a little more conservatively right there.
So back when you talked about there's going to be tough times. I mean, it's a long season, and you said, how are we going to react? And confidence. I mean, you were playing with tremendous confidence, and I was actually on my podcast this week talking to Mike James. That Coach Newberry's talked about don't get choked on the sugar, but on the other hand, you want them to have swagger. That's what makes an offense good. What are you seeing? You still see this confidence and swagger?
I think it's I think for any sports team, that is a fragile thing. Okay. You can get it real quick and you can get a little down on yourself. And this is what I think in years of coaching and years of being a head coach and taking over some programs maybe that have been struggling and trying to turn it into a consistent winner. I think winning is tough. Winning when you're first learning how to be consistent at it is exhausting as well. It's emotionally exhausting, and you're trying to get that glue to dry, and so if you have a couple rough things happen to you, you can waver. We just got to settle down and go execute. That's the bottom line. That's what we're trying to preach to our guys is just settle down and go execute and stop worrying about making mistakes, okay, and play wide open, and the plays will come to you, right? You don't have to press. You don't have to do anything outside your abilities. You don't have to become Superman all of a sudden. And so we got to do everything we can as a staff to help them with that, okay, as far as the way we talk to them, the way we coach, the situations we put them in. And then those guys have to grow into that as well. So it's the sky's not falling and the sun came up and we're sitting here 6-2 in a conference hunt. We're in the hunt, and that's the way we need to behave. That's the way we need to prepare. And we need to understand if we do well, we can continue this thing on, but I think those are all learning processes. So you certainly, as a coach, it's easy to say, hey, go play with confidence, right? Go play with confidence. But confidence is knowing you're prepared, knowing you're in a good situation, feeling like you can go execute what you're doing. You would think as many plays as we've made this fall, as many positive things we have happen, that we should be able to tap into that, with a few positive things happening early in the game. That's what we need to do. So we need to try to create that as coaches. But I don't see, it's like anything. The season gets, you're a little beat up. It's week 9. Championship teams, it's November. That's it's when they show up. So are we going to show up and get that done, or are we going to kind of, whittle down and not get it done? So I believe in our players. We need to go down to Tampa and we need to go execute. Not worry about who we're playing against, worry about what we're doing and go execute as hard as we can with a lot and have a lot of fun. Okay. And that's what we're going to try to do Saturday.
Thank you. I'll throw it back to Scott.
Go ahead, Scott.
Coach, how's the comfort and confidence level developing between Blake and Cody, and how important is that for this offense?
With Cody Howard,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, everybody everybody loves Cody. First of all right, now Cody is a tough kid, um, and uh, he's been beat up. Right, he's had a lot of injuries throughout his career, and even this fall. And he's trying to play through it. We want Cody to be out there. Obviously he makes us better when he's healthy. We're going to see game time. But I think Cody makes us all. He makes us better on offense. But at the same time, we got a lot of confidence in those other two young men. With Scully and Jake because they played. And we've won games with them in there. So I don't know if it's you know I'm sure Blake has a lot of confidence in Cody, but I think he's also got a lot of confidence in those other two guys as well.
And how about Blake? His demeanor seems almost perfect for a quarterback with a team that maybe has stumbled a little bit. He seems like he's the type of guy who can look at a situation and take the best out of it and say, you know what, yeah, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, he's pretty even keel. I think he's able to hit the reset button. Certainly, he was frustrated with Saturday. Okay, as they all were. And he's a young man that's not played a ton. He's played some and he's gaining experience every week. But I do think he's suited. His makeup is suited. For to be able to handle the ups and downs. So I'm proud of him. He's played. He's played through some stuff. Okay. And he is a competitive kid. He's a tough kid. And I'm excited about his future. I think he's going to continue to improve.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Wags, back to you. Finish us off.
Well, I was just going to. So, what is the message? I mean, obviously, it's the turnovers killed you against Notre Dame. Then you have a game where just a little off, and Rice defense played well. What's kind of the message to the guys? I mean, like you said, they're frustrated and probably going, what's going on here? And hey, we're rolling, and now what's happening? What do you say?
Let's freaking go. I mean, you can't feel sorry for yourself, right? It's you can't. I realize a lot of this is psychological. I get all that, and it's feeling good and all that. But the bottom line is, at some point, you got to make a decision, right? That you're going to just go after it, right? And don't let circumstances bother you. Don't let what happened last week bother you. Don't let what they're saying in the newspaper bother you. I mean, it comes a time where you go execute and you figure out ways to get that done. I think that's the case for any human being that's going through a little bit of a struggle, especially if you've had some success and now you've hit a wall a little bit. I mean, that's not a good way. Just you've hit some bumps, right? And I think there's a decision to be made. And are you going to let things that you can't control? Winning's hard enough, all right, without letting things that don't matter. Okay, and you can't see ghosts. You can't. What if I screw this? I mean, just go turn it loose and play. And if we play at a high level and we get beat, you know what? That's the American way, right? I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes somebody's just better than you. But we hadn't played to our ability, to the best of our ability, the last 2 weekends. I think every kid here would tell you that. I'm not always I'm the guy that, you know what? I want to go play right now because I want to get this bad taste out of my mouth. That's how I'm wired. And I hope we have a bunch of young men who want to go do that, right? Who want to go down and, hey, we're going to go down to Tampa. It's going to be hot, right? We're playing on the road. Let's go figure out all the reasons, and overcome them, right? And go say, screw it. We're going to go get it done, right? And I think that's where we have to grow a little bit, and I think we can. I don't think that's mission impossible. But we got to go, each player, individually has got to make a decision to go be the best he can be. And then as a group collectively do that together. And don't worry about how many touches you're getting, which our players don't. Don't worry about, things that don't matter. Don't worry about what the outside voices are saying. And just go play and have fun doing it, because this is a privilege, right? It's an absolute opportunity that a lot of people would want to be sitting in their seat. So I think you got to really look at it with some gratitude and realize, man, I'm right where I want to be. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you'd have told us we were gonna be 6-2 at the beginning of the season, I think a lot of us would have said, okay, cool, maybe we'll take that, and then let's go from where we are and get better and go be the best we can be every Saturday. Um, that's all I want for the guys. That's all I want for them to do. They don't have to go. They don't have to go do anything superhuman. I just want them to have fun, fly around, and play to the best of their ability, and then we'll let the scoreboard handle itself.
Well, speaking of scoreboard, the defense held Rice to 24 points all season. Most of the season, that would have been more than enough for Navy to
Yes,
get a
it would
win.
have.
What we've seen out of the South Florida offense the last 2 games, I think you're going to have to score more than 10 points, more than likely.
Yeah. You got to score more than 10 points versus anybody. Yeah. Say again.
Well, I was just saying, can you talk about, South Florida is probably they have the ability to put up points. You may have to match them.
Yeah, we got to have more than they do. That's what we got to do. Got to have more points than they do. So we got to go figure that out. I'm trying to score 50 every time we go out there, Wags. That's that's not going to happen every time, and but that's our mindset, is to go out there and compete and try to put the guys in situations to score. And we've seen flashes of it this fall. We need to, no matter who we're playing, okay, we got to go score more than 10 points. And you're not going to win any games in today's college football world scoring 10. And however many they score, we need to have one more than they do. So we're going to have to go figure that out. But I'm looking forward to that challenge.